From a little cover, I got my dreams in sight. Wrestling on the mat, I go and put up a fight. With every hold and slam, I rise to the peak. Now as Professor Bear, it's my strength that they see. Roaring with knowledge like a lion so proud. In this wrestling world, I'm standing out loud. I'm Professor Bear, got the passion to spare. Wrestling's my life, with the power to share. From the roots to ropes, in the spotlight we gleam. Chasing victory dreams, living out the theme. Now my WOSN, my squad.
Yeah. Hey, new beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul.
With my forest crew, we'll always ride. In the wrestling world, one just claim the prize.
Welcome, 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 and thank you for joining me this evening. I am Professor Bear, and this is a Bear's Thoughts. And guys, girls, we are just keep rolling along with this promotion appreciation month. Again, I look at this as a deep dive into the minds of many of people who are going to keep wrestling going strong and alive. You know, we are fans for a reason. It's because of what they put together, think about us, and just love to entertain us. So, with that being said, guys, girls, let me introduce Barry. He is from Diamond Championship Wrestling. Sir, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So, um, before we get started, guys, girls, you see the logo above them. That is their logo. That way, when you look for them, you know you have the right company because we all know wrestling is so many different companies, similar names or the same names. So we
A
want
lot
you
of letters.
say again.
Said a lot of letters.
Yes, yes, yes. So we want to make sure you get the right one. And above me is the QR code. If you scan that QR code, it will take you directly to their YouTube page. So please use it. Now, sir, I always ask my guests this question. When did you become a wrestling fan?
So I initially became a wrestling fan during the Monday Night Wars. I was a WCW guy. Personally, don't hold that against me.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Born and raised in the South my whole life, so WCW was a more Southern-based promotion, and I was also a kid, and it was generally speaking considered more family-friendly than WWF was. So that was uh that was a big push too from my family.
Yes. Um, so who were some of your favorite wrestlers?
So I always enjoyed obviously Degenerate X, NWO. Um, I always really loved Billy Kidman. I really liked his work from as long as I could remember. Um, I mean, there's a lot of people that I really enjoyed, but I'm also at a point where I can appreciate everybody for different reasons. So it's hard to pick a solid favorite for sure.
Okay. So, how did you go from just being a wrestling fan to being in the wrestling business?
So I initially broke in as a referee. Um, Started out like most people, just going to shows, helping set up and tear down. Eventually ended up wiggling my way into the business like most people do. I started as a referee, had a mind for the business. So the company I was working for at the time as a referee, I started getting a lot more involved in their creative process and stuff like that. And then eventually I ended up becoming a partner with them. And then they dissolved and I started my own thing. So, and kind of there we have it.
So, with doing your own thing, what did you ever think you would be put in that position to have your own company?
Initially starting out, I never really had the. I mean, I had a good job. I had, I didn't have a whole lot to invest as far as I knew I wasn't even trying to go to the big leagues, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was just doing it as a hobby. I enjoyed it. I was pretty good at it, so I've been told. Um, and so from there, I enjoyed what I was doing, but like I said, the creative side of it was what I really enjoyed, and so that was when I really started getting the itch to start doing things my own way. Was whenever I started getting involved in some of the matchmaking and things like that. Honestly, one of the biggest things that sent me down that path was I've also got a DJ background. I was
Okay.
taught to DJ by my uncle, so I was very familiar with sound and lighting. I was taught, I lost him because of cancer several years back, but that's who taught me how to DJ. So I already had that background. And I noticed that along the Gulf Coast where I am, south, the southern part, so southern Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, there wasn't anything, the production value was terrible at all of the local independent shows. It was every show around was just throw up a ring, have a crappy sound system, and put together an indie show is what I call them. Just throw to bingo halls. There's a market for that, and if that's what you enjoy, that's great. But I wanted to add a lot more of the show and the theatrics and the production value of the stuff that I personally enjoyed watching. And
So,
so, yeah,
and
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, go ahead.
With that being said, with that mind state of okay, it got to be more production values and stuff. Um, how do you think that has translated so far with doing that?
So at first it was a lot of along this area when I first started doing it, there was a whole lot of what I culture shock is what I call it, where people a lot of the fans, that's what they were used to, was the bingo hall with just throwing up a sound system and a ring and that was it. Um so there was a little bit of culture shock and a little bit of backlash, honestly, from some of those people that's what they enjoyed. They had this mindset on what they think things ought to be like, and we were going against the grain. And humans aren't fans of change as a whole, generally speaking. And so that was a little bit of like I said, a culture shock. And then from there, people started to get with it, and it was really I kind of threw a rock, metaphorically speaking, into this independent wrestling pond down here. And so once I started doing these things, everywhere else around me also started doing those things, and it kind of changed the whole culture in this whole area, to where now we're a lot more focused on production just as a whole, the whole southeast, I'll call it.
And and I find it funny that that it was such a hard change, but in the other sense, I understand that too because I have family down in the Mobile area. So um my parents can't used to live there, so I know a lot of the mindset, and and I look at it similar to where I am now in Knoxville, Tennessee. We're so used to the old school wrestling ways, and
Yep.
if you come in to give one thing different, we about to lose our mind.
Yep, for sure. And that was one of the things that was kind of a challenge to do, but eventually the people got with it, and I feel like they really enjoyed it in the grand scheme of things. But it was the exact same way down here. It was old school wrestling, and that was all. That was all.
What I like about it is that you helped usher in a change that was needed. Even and I make no apologies. I'm an old school wrestling fan, but
For sure.
I don't want to have to sit in a busted chair just looking at the walls. Excuse me. I like some value. And in another sense too, you're telling people, look, yes, yeah, I know you see WWE. We can't be WWE, but we can be us. And us is
Right.
this. We have good quality too. And I love the fact that you were able to see that and implement that, and then everybody else started to come around.
And at first, I feel like we did it a little bit too much too quick, and I think that was the reason why there was more backlash. I think it would have been better had we, hindsight's 2020. I think it would have been better had we did a little bit at a time. But we
Right.
went from throwing up a ring in a bingo hall to tons of lights and fog machines and a lot of really big change. And if you're a fan that's been coming to those shows regularly and you get hit with that, it can be a lot. So I understand that. And then from there, we've learned that what we try to do as a show, just as a whole, is we're a variety show, is the way we put it. And that's, we have a little bit for everybody. We've got some high flying stuff. We've got some old school wrestling. We've got, and it's just all under this Diamond Championship Wrestling banner with good quality production, and the fans get with it. To the best of my knowledge, we are the only company on in the South outside of, obviously WWE, that's been able to pull off doing a cinematic match.
Oh wow.
And so we've here in our arena, we've got a Tron. It was actually on one of our pay per views. We ended up turning out the lights for the crowd and threw that cinematic match on the Tron for the people in the audience to watch, and it was live for them. It was an off site. It was a junkyard brawl, I believe is what we called it, and they got to watch it. It was about 20-minute long cinematic match, and the fans were with it. They enjoyed it. We had live commentary over top of it. They didn't know what was happening either. So it was a really cool experience to be able to do that.
So one thing that immediately comes to mind with everything you're telling me is you must really love doing the creative of everything. You have a goal, and this is what you're trying to create.
100%. So we actually have a creative team. It's 6 people, and every Sunday and Tuesday we'll get together for 2 hours, and we'll throw stuff at the wall and write matches. Whereas a lot of other places, because I've been there, I'm not trying to throw any kind of shade or anything, but they'll put together a match card the same day, or a couple days before, and obviously card subject to change. You got to do stuff on the fly, but
Right.
our entire everything is storyline based. So we actually a full live event. The term is called live to tape. So our entire live event is live to tape. Our first hour is one episode of TV. Then we have about a 15-20 minute intermission, somewhere like that. And then our second hour is our second episode of our TV show. So the house, the people that paid a ticket to get in there, they end up seeing 2 weeks of TV at that one live event.
Okay.
And
That's
so if somebody's cutting a promo before intermission and setting up for a match the following week, they may say, and next week I want you in the ring. And for the people in the house, next week really means after intermission. But for our fans watching on YouTube or live TV or wherever they're getting it, uh, it'll be another week.
right. That I mean, and of course, I think that's not only smart from a business standpoint, that helps keep the fans interested because
Right.
you're coming in, you're basically getting two shows, and it helps with the storyline aspect of it too, because it's like, okay, I know this is gonna happen next week, but the following week, oh, I'm gonna have to be here, or I'm gonna have to watch it, or whatever. I really think that's a big thing that I've noticed, and talking to different bookers and stuff. The main thing I hear about everybody's show, no matter how anyone arranges or do things, is storyline. They're more concerned of the storyline versus anything else. If the storyline is not working, then we have to change the storyline.
That's it. Because just the wrestling fan population as a whole, a small percentage of those really care about wrestling, the actual wrestling. Now, you can have great story and subpar wrestling, I'll call it, that can be red hot. I mean, just people eat it up. But if you have excellent wrestling and a poor story, you're only going to get away with a week or two of that, and then eventually your crowd's going to not be into it anymore.
Right.
The storylines is everything. It's I've always called wrestling a male soap opera, which I mean now females are into it just as much as anybody, but I mean that's really what it is it's a soap opera, live action athletics.
You're 100% right. Um, it some of the things that I've seen and done, uh, it amazes me, especially where we are with wrestling. Quick story: had a guy. He was working, and his partner was in the ring, and he's working the crowd. He comes sits close to me. There's a couple of seats empty. He comes sits down. Well, 9 times out of 10, if I go anywhere, I always wear a logo shirt, something to let people know who I am. And he was sitting there and he said something, but I couldn't make it out what he said. But the whole time he sat there, I kept thinking to myself, I know this is I know this is predetermined and everything. And I know I hadn't met this guy before, but this guy is really pissing me off. And I really want to punch him in the face. I really did. So in my head, I'm thinking, damn, this guy is really working really well because I legitimately want to hit him.
Yep, 100%.
After the match, he came out, we got to talk, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm glad you heard me." I said, "Honestly, I did." He said, "Yeah, I was trying to tell you to stay after the match, don't leave." He said, "But I didn't want to break kayfabe, so." I was like, and I laughed. I said, "Man, you that's pretty good." I said, "I didn't hear you." I said, "But hey, I'm just going to be honest with you because I'm honest. I try to be honest with everybody." I said, "You had pissed me off where I wanted to hit you in the face." He said, "Man, that's one of the best compliments I got in quite a while."
That's right. Doing his job.
Yes. What is the and this is going to be a kind of a weird question, but what is the goal into getting your storyline together? What is the main purpose of the consent, the ending of that storyline? What is the main purpose?
So we do pay-per-views. So our pay-per-views are the that's the climax of our stories, but it's a never-ending story. So you may have a climax at one story on one pay-per-view that's actually halfway or just beginning another story with a different set of guys. And so you're always constantly working and building. And we have two bigger pay-per-views, I'll call them. Pay Pay the Piper is in July, and then All Sales Final is in November. And those are kind of used as our resets if we need to, and we'll bring in other people, or that kind of like with WWE. WrestleMania is their reset. After WrestleMania, the story keeps going, but that's you always want to watch that Monday Night Raw right after Mania, because that's what that's where the future is going.
Right,
So it's a similar way as far as that goes. We're always trying to time everything. So for one, we have the biggest attendance in during our pay per views. Um, a lot of the time, our pay per views will have different stipulation gimmick type matches, because that's where feuds built to.
right,
If we're telling a story where one guy keeps leaving constantly and getting counted out or whatever, we'll keep working that story all the way to the pay per view, and then the pay per view will be a lumberjack match or a cage match. That way they can't escape,
right.
and that's how we write.
So, uh, and this is like you're the first promotion that I've talked to that actually has pay per views. Being in being independent, being independent and doing pay per views. What is your and I don't want to sound like I'm asking you the same question, but what gave you the idea? Hey, we can do pay per views.
So initially, it started out. It wasn't actually a pay per view. I had the idea, you know, it was several years ago. I had the idea of we need some place for all this stuff to culminate. These stories need to be able to, have a specific spot where they peak at. And so I just started doing. I think we called them something like super cards, or something like that, where we the the advertising ramped up, the promotion ramped up. That was where we did our gimmick matches or things like that. But it uh it wasn't actually on pay per view until eventually I was a pay per view company, a local pay per view company, Apex Media, reached out to me and was wondering if they could stream our events, see if we could do some kind of partnership. And then we ended up talking and coming to an agreement. And yeah, they've been our pay per view provider ever since. And I think we're going on our sixth or seventh, something like that, pay per view. So we've done quite a few in 2 years that we've been in this building. We're actually headed to into year three at our arena that we have.
That's amazing. And what I like about it for a couple of reasons. One, you're showing that just because we're an indie promotion doesn't mean we cannot be a big company.
Right.
We can do anything the majors can, but I think where y'all have that niche and the better sell, honestly, is your your indie company, and the indie companies, they're just, to me, there's a different feeling to it. Anytime I go to an indie show, it's almost like, I call it going to a family reunion, because you see the same people there. You're bonding over wrestling. You know, hey, he's gonna be here, or if that person's not here, as soon as they come back to the next one, man, you okay? Didn't see you. Kind of worried about you. It gives you that type of feel, and I think that's amazing.
For sure. And so that's another thing that kind of makes us different than the rest of the indies is our culture here is different as far as that aspect, what you're talking about. So a lot of indie shows, you'll like just the story you just told me, you'll have the guy that'll stick around and talk to you and, you know, do that after the match. Whereas our guys, we have taught them they are they are superstars. They are superstars. So the only time that they are seen in the crowd is if they're a babyface behind the merch table. So they don't get to mingle with the audience because once you put the stars in with the fans, there's there's not that there needs to be that separation between I'm I'm the person you paid to see compared to we're equals, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Um,
So our heels fans don't have any exposure to them. We've got a totally separate entrance to the whole building. They can go to their car and leave. That way, there's no chance of mingling with fans. And then, like I said, baby faces, they're perfectly okay to mingle with fans behind the merch table. That you still have that separation of star versus fan. Um, which some people like that, some people don't. But I mean, the way that we look at it is, for one, that's the way it is in the big leagues. That's you don't you unless you're just at the right place at the right time, you don't get to see WWE stars just in the same area.
right.
You end up paying for a meet and greet, or you know whatever special circumstance it may be. Um, And then another kind of culture thing about Diamond is, yes, 100% I agree, we are still independent. But Al Snow actually taught me that he said OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, is not an independent show. They are a step above independent. And we have had that same mindset ever since Al Snow taught that to me. We actually view indie or independent as kind of got a negative connotation a little bit to it, because we do the things, we put in the work, we have the lighting, the production, and we have creative meetings, and we do all these things that makes us know we're not WWE, we're not TNA, we know that, but we do feel that we are farming the future stars of those promotions. And several of our guys have ended up getting tryouts and extra spots and stuff like that because of it. We teach TV wrestling. We've got 4 different camera angles that we switch in real time. And, it's it's different learning how to work an indie crowd compared to working a working TV style.
Right, definitely.
And so that's, like I said, we kind of view, culturally, we kind of view indie as a negative connotation. As far as our our what we want to be viewed as. Um,
And and I I don't take any offense of that at all. I think that's a great mindset if you know what you're doing and where you want to go. From everything we've talked about, you clearly had had a plan, and you've slowly built that plan to be where y'all are today. Again, I understand where the negative connotations come from with people saying indie, but then, like you said, you're more than an indie. You're and that's no slight at anybody. You have
right,
a you have a dream that you want to accomplish something and be at a certain level. Nothing is wrong with that at all.
right. And our goal, actually, unless I just end up getting an investor, which, I mean, if you're out there watching, I'm totally open to this. But unless we get some kind of investor that's just willing to put tons of cash into this, train, our goal is not to be a competitor of WWE or AEW or anything like that. We we like our position as uh, the OVW of the South, I'll call it. Which, I mean, they're based out of Louisville, Kentucky, which is still kind of South, but Gulf Coast, I'll call it. Um, and we've actually got a really good working relationship with them. I told you about my conversation with Al Snow, and I know some of their producers up there, and we even did a joint show several years back. Um, so we've got that. We have a lot of the same cultural type things that us and OVW will be similar in.
Right.
And OVW does pay-per-views. Uh,
It, as big of a wrestling fan that I am, I didn't know that.
yeah, OVW does pay-per-views and live TV. Um, and we're, like I said, we're the exact same way. And it's nothing, not trying to downplay anyone else or anything, but we feel that we're a step above indie or independent, and uh, think it shows in our product. Um, and that's just kind of where we stand on that. And some of our guys have actually went up and performed on OVW's pay-per-views. And same thing, I just had a former, and he may even still be, I don't know, I don't really keep up with their product a whole lot, but we had a former OVW champion come work our show about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our our goal is to have a reputation similar to them as far as being a farming school for the next level. We want people to come here to train here and eventually let them spread their wings and fly to the next level, so we can have something on our wall saying this guy eventually turned into a world champion. He trained at Diamond Championship Wrestling. He started out down there in Mobile at the Diamond Mine. Uh, that's kind of our real life goal. Not holding my breath for a millionaire investor to hit me up, but I'm not closing the door either. So if you're watching, like
Right.
I said, hit me up.
So, your top title, what is it? What is it called?
So we've got the DCW Heavyweight Championship is our number one title.
Okay. And the reason I asked this question, and I had meant to ask more of my guests and just forgot. But the main reason why I asked that question, one of my biggest pet peeves in wrestling is smaller promotions have the audacity to call their top title a world title.
World championship.
That bugs the hell out of me.
Me too.
It's like, no, it's like, look, I understand what you're reaching for, but if you're not leaving the county, take that take that name off of your belt. Come up with
Yeah.
something else.
Yep, 100%. I agree wholeheartedly. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's actually kind of a goal of mine though. Is I want to get our heavyweight championship to become world title status. I've currently our current heavyweight champion is Shreddy, who is he's based from the United Kingdom. He's from England.
Okay.
Um, and so he just recently won it at our last event, and I would love the opportunity to be able to have the DCW Heavyweight Championship be defended in the UK or Japan or Mexico, and that would be really cool. That'd be a goal I'd like to achieve in the next couple years, and that way I really can say we are a world title. But until we actually have it defended on non-American soil, it ain't happening.
Right. And immediately when I was telling you that and you agreed, the first thing that popped in my mind because of how you said it was, as a kid, I've been a fan the late 70s, early 80s. That's how far I go back. And of course, we didn't have internet. What our internet was the wrestling magazines. And my
After Mag.
yes, I had Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Um, I think Inside of Wrestling and The Wrestler. Those were my magazines. That's how, if I couldn't watch something, that's how I kept up with it through the magazines. And I always loved the fact that they gave the status. If you could call yourself a world champion, but if you didn't defend outside your area, no, you were not a world champion.
Right.
and, and I love that because it gives, like you said, you have a goal if to start getting your title defended in different places, and then you may consider calling it a world title. Which love that I love the attitude. I love the uh, thinking forward. Um, Now, how much do your pay per views usually run?
11.99, 11.99, and you can stream it from anywhere in the world.
With that, you are also on TV, correct?
Yes.
Um, do you? I know y'all. You told me taping two. You tape two shows per match. Shows. Um, with that being said, do you have any like specials that you may throw on to hype something up?
Yeah, we've done different things. We've also done things where we did a fan appreciation night where we didn't even collect any money at the gate. It was just letting fans free. Which obviously, as you would expect, we had a pretty good house that night. Um, but that was the reason we did it. Honestly, other than just an appreciation to the fans, was it was a we wanted to see how we ran it on a Tuesday night, and we were tossing around the idea of doing weekly shows, and how would the audience be able to attend weekly shows. Because the last thing I want to do is start doing weekly shows and then suddenly we're only drawing 50, 75 people like an indie show,
Right, right.
and shooting that on camera is that's that's heartbreaking. you know um we put in a lot of work to fill all them seats, so uh that was a trial run that we had tried to do and still hadn't done it. It's not outside the realm of possibility, but for right now, we're doing every other week on Friday nights.
Well, and I think one thing is you have a formula and it's working. No sense of rocking the boat until you have something in concrete.
For sure. And another, we like running on Fridays because that gives our guys the opportunity, because most other shows run on Saturday nights. There's not many other promotions, especially in our area, that run on Friday nights. So they're here on Fridays, and then they get an opportunity to go make a shot somewhere else, meet a, have a connection, get another rep in, whatever. And it also kind of winds up working well in our favor for the culture too, because they get to see what it's like not here.
Right, right. Um, I know you talked about working with OVW. Are you have you or are you willing to work with other promotions?
Yeah, if it makes sense, I'm not opposed. Unfortunately, down here in the area that I'm at, it's been kind of cutthroat for a really long time. Uh, a lot of mudslinging back and forth and people throwing shots, and uh, it's, if it makes sense and it makes everybody money or whatever, I'm okay with it. But I'm also, we very much have the WWE or former WWE mentality of, we're on our own little island over here. We're doing our thing, so no sense in, we don't even recognize anyone else or what they're doing because we're focused on our product. They may have a phenomenal product, but we're not worried about it because we're focused on what we're doing.
I have to tell you this. This has been probably my most interesting interview, just on the fact that you're we're gonna have to find a term to call your your level, because like you said, you're definitely bigger than the indie, but you're not WWE ish stuff. Um,
Right.
we're I'm gonna have to work on that and come up with a nice phrase so you can start using that. And you're like, well, Professor Bird gave us that term.
Absolutely. I love that idea.
Um, so do y'all do and I, because like I said, I have family there. I know the area well. I know y'all have something Mardi Gras themed.
Oh, absolutely. Last year we actually we had a whole pay-per-view that was based around Mardi Gras. It was Mardi Gras Madness. And it was an awesome pay-per-view. I mean, top to bottom. We had there was a stacked card. I mean, that was one of the biggest houses we've ever had in our building. But also it was really cool because we were able to get a second line band to come out and start the show.
Wow.
We had them come down the ramp, and on the curtain they had saxophones and trumpets and everything coming down, and they uh, did a lap around the ring and played while our commentator for one of our commentators for that show was actually AJ McKay, and he's a producer and commentator for OVW. Um, and he was able to do his little thing at the start of the show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mardi Gras Madness, Diamond Championship Wrestling. Blah blah blah. His whole little spiel, and it was a really cool way, and it was a lot of energy.
Oh, guys, we're having a little technical
Oh, that
difficulty.
illusion.
Yep, you're back though.
Okay, cool.
Um,
I can't see you on the screen. I'm cut off. Is that just on me?
yeah, I'm seeing you.
Okay, awesome. So anyway, like I was saying, yeah, we had the second line band playing, and he did his his Mardi Gras spiel at the beginning of the show, and it was awesome.
So y'all are running every other Friday, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Because like I said, I do have family down there, and I I I've been definitely going to different promotions to just experience for myself. So the next time I'm down there, I'm gonna have to make sure the scheduling is right so I can come and see y'all in action.
Oh, absolutely. Be my guest. I'll put you front row.
I appreciate that. Um, what would you what would you tell me if I asked you for advice about starting a promotion?
Unless you got tons of money that you just want to throw away, don't do it.
What's funny to me, I had Bull Buchanan on. I think it was yesterday. My days and nights are all blurred, but I asked him the same question. He's like, "If you like to lose money, then do it." The guest before you asked them the same question, and you got to have a boatload of money.
I mean that's putting it down there where the goats can get it. I mean it's just as real as it can be. It's you have to have an extreme passion for it in order to do it, because if you don't, it won't last. You can't be all about making money, because it takes a long time to start turning a profit, and it's real easy to get a poor reputation, and this it's a and I mean the same thing can be said about the wrestlers themselves, because a lot of these guys are only making they'll travel 8+ hours for $50, and the saying's a hot dog and a handshake, and it's true. It's you can't get in the rest business because you're going to make money. Is there a chance you can make it to the big leagues? Absolutely, if you put in the work and you have the connections, sure, but most people won't ever get that opportunity.
Right. And like I look at it is, yes, like you said, everybody wants to be there. You won't be there, but it's for the love of it.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I think you could tell so many different guys and girls why they do it, and just it's like, wait a minute, you working two jobs, you doing this and wrestling, like why wrestle? Because I love it.
That's it.
Simple as that.
It's a drug for a lot of people.
It's funny you say that. And like I said, I've been a wrestling fan for all my life. But last year I got a chance to go work for a promotion in Texas. First time I ever stepped foot in a wrestling ring. That wrestling ring just so happened to be a cage because they were having an all cage match show. And I'm standing in gorilla. I'm mesmerized. And it's like, wow, this is wow. Then when they hit my music and I walked out, from me walking out until I got back in the back, it was like a tunnel. I stopped. I couldn't hear my music. I couldn't hear the fans. Only thing I just kept. I was able just to see enough to walk around, and then I got into the ring, and I just a burst of energy. I thought I was gonna throw my arm out of socket. That's how hard I was trying to get the fans to rally behind me and stuff. And I thought to myself afterwards, I was like, this is why these guys and girls do it. Oh my God, if I had a chance, I would do it tomorrow again. Hell, you don't even have to pay me. Just let me come out and get this feeling.
If you could bottle that feeling and sell it, you'd be able to invest in DCW.
Man, it is so crazy. And it's like, I get it now. I get it. Not, I already had respect for the guys and girls for what they do, but getting just a taste, I was like, oh man, if I could go back to my 20s.
For sure. And you say that, but uh, which I mean, absolutely, 100%. The wrestlers deserve all the respect in the world, but the referees,
Mm.
those guys need a lot more respect put on them. And same thing go. I mean, a lot of companies don't have them, but same thing goes with commentators. I've got one of the best commentary teams. I would put my commentary team up against a lot of commentary teams, even including the big leagues. Uh, my commentary team is Carmen Michael, who's I mean he's a road warrior. He travels all over the place. He's one of OVW's lead commentators, and he's like I said, he's traveled all over the country and called some of the biggest matches. I mean, some of the biggest names. Period. And then my other commentator is Walker Stewart of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so he's one of the commentators for New Japan, and my ring announcer is Dave Storm. He's the game day host and PA announcer for the New Orleans Saints.
Oh damn.
So as far as a broadcast team goes, we've got a hell of a powerhouse team, and there's I mean those guys know what they're doing and they put in the work and the miles, and like I said, those guys and the guys that are behind the scenes doing work, some more respect across the industry needs to go on them guys.
And it's funny again. It's funny of a lot of stuff you're saying. I find myself trying to do when I do interviews. I try to get referees, try to get commentary people, try to get valets, managers, people out. And the biggest misconception is that wrestling is not a team sport.
Oh yeah,
It, if you don't have, if I tell this to everybody, if you don't have the referee, it don't matter who you have in the ring. It's gonna suck.
yep, for sure,
You got to have that ref in there. They do so much that we as fans do not understand or appreciate.
100%.
And I'm super glad that you brought up everybody behind the scenes, because you are again so right that everybody needs that little love, that to be recognized and to be known how well you do and how you play a major part in the company. It's such an amazing, it's a great thing, and I'm glad that you brought that to light and do that for your team.
Hey, give me just a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, guys, girls,
Hey, bro.
it's been
So,
such
I know.
a amazing thing that they are doing some great work. Uh, Again, as much as I know, I did not know of the smaller companies doing pay per views. Well, or I did, but I didn't, if that makes sense, because I have seen bigger shows. All right.
All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem, no problem. And what's funny, I was just telling my listeners that I didn't know, but then again, I do know. I actually seen companies that do pay per views, but I guess it just didn't click in my head.
Thank you.
So, it,
Already forgot. Thank you. Hey, holler at me. So,
so, so whoever that is, you tell him that he don't interrupt the bear. He'll get caught.
yeah, sorry about that. That was actually I mean, it may would be a different story if you knew who it was, but that was actually Super Kick Scott Armstrong.
Oh my God. I'm threatening. Tell the legend I apologize. I was I I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was that was Scott Armstrong and Marcel Pringle right before him. So,
Oh, okay. Um,
are you
yeah,
familiar with
any
Marcel?
sir.
I said, are you familiar with Marcel?
Yes, I am. Uh, I was gonna say the the Armstrong name in my household is uh like speaking on oh God. Their family is up there. They're well respected. If it wasn't for them and the Fullers, I don't know where I would be at today.
And what's crazy is so much of that history is undocumented or very poorly documented. I mean, this whole area and part of it, that's another kind of driving force behind what I'm trying to do and actively doing with DCW is, this was a hotbed for pro wrestling for a very long time.
Continental Championship Wrestling.
Expo
Again,
Hall, yeah. I
man,
mean,
that was my family's lifeblood. We If it wasn't Continental, it was Georgia Championship Wrestling. That
that's
area.
it.
Uh, Fun fact: my brother was telling me that he remembers the first time he went to wrestling with my dad and my brother, that they had to go across a ferry to get to the other side, and it was down in Alabama. And he was telling me that, and I'm like, wow. He's like, I don't know why, but that's one of my earliest memories.
Wow, yeah. It was probably before they built the tunnels to for Mobile and Baldwin County to connect to one another.
Yep.
So yeah, that's really cool. The yeah, the pro wrestling this area was a hotbed between here and Dothan and Birmingham. I mean, that loop that Continental did had some of the biggest names in pro wrestling ever was and our arena is named after Bullet
Right.
Bob Armstrong.
Eh,
And
Go
a
ahead.
lot of people, I was going to say, a lot of people now that are newer wrestling fans don't realize how big he was. I mean, we get people all the time that comes in and say, "Yeah, we saw the sign and we remember Bullet and thought that was really cool," and you know that type of thing. It's generally your older crowd that does that, and you get these, especially our newer students, our trainees that are learning how to wrestle. They don't understand the legacy that the Armstrongs have, and just that this whole area has in pro wrestling, and the fact that Expo Hall was drawing, filling arenas
Yes.
before during the territory days. Um, and so that's another thing that we kind of like doing is wrestling history for some of our newer students that are younger and may not know the history. I mean, Bullet Bob Armstrong, that he was Hogan in this area. He was the man. He was everything, and he never wrestled a match in WWE, WWF at all. But he's a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
So that alone ought to tell you the significance of him, and the Armstrong family having a similar legacy like the Harts or the Von Erichs, or that they are the Armstrongs are that royal family, we'll call it, down here in this area.
I will tell you right now, I have videotape now of Continental Championship Wrestling that still have. Um, every blue moon I pull it out and watch, and again, that is what shaped me and my family in wrestling. And it was an amazing thing. And here's another how sometimes you're not thinking, but you see things. I saw the ad that Scott did for training, and I didn't put two and two together, which is hilarious. It's funny now, but in a way, the prideful side of me, like, oh, I should be ashamed of myself, not realizing it's the same company, but but I love that, and like you said, Bullet Bob Armstrong, God rest his soul, he just he made wrestling, and all his sons. I and I hope Scott ain't around when I say this, but by far my favorite was Brad. Brad, it was something about Brad, and his drop kicks were so crisp.
Yes, 100%. Scott would actually agree with you on that. I mean, him and his brother were very close, and I've been, yeah, he's told us countless stories of him and Brad, and them growing up together and breaking into the business. So Scott actually went off. Brad broke into the business first, even though Scott was the oldest brother.
Right.
Um, and Scott went to a year. I think he went a year to college before he decided and told his dad he wanted to break into the business. So Brad actually wrestled for a little bit longer, and Brad, all of his stuff was just so smooth and is well regarded as amongst the people in the business. A lot of people say Brad is one of the best people to ever lace a pair of boots. I
Oh yeah.
mean, um,
And
Brad was phenomenal and
it,
lost way too soon.
yes, he was. And I, no matter where Brad was, and if he wrestled under a mask, it was easy to spot him because his walk, he had that specific walk, especially before he tied up. It was like, that's Brad Armstrong. Why they
Yeah.
got their mask? This is some bullshit. Uh, and one of the fun facts I tell people this, and they think I'm crazy until they really find out. I'm like, y'all realize Brad Armstrong was a free bird for a little while, right? No, he
Yep.
wasn't. I'm like, he was Fantasia, dummy. Look at
Yep. And he's Arachnaman too.
oh, oh my god. Um, I'm so glad that you're helping to keep that legacy alive. Um, it's an amazing thing. A few months ago I got to talk to Ron Fuller.
Oh yeah.
That conversation was an amazing thing. And after our conversation, we were talking, and I thanked him tremendously. And he gave me one of my best compliments that I had from damn near anybody in wrestling. He appreciated me. He told me how much he appreciated me being um, respectful for the business, and he could tell my passion that it was real. And just to have him say that, that was, like I said, it's been, that's one of the best things that ever been said to me for what I do.
For sure. I had a kind of a full circle moment a couple weeks ago myself. I was actually in a producer and a writer's room with Scott Armstrong, Dr. Tom Pritchard, and Marcel Pringle. All all of us were in the same room writing, putting together a show, and I had to kind of stop myself and go, "Wow, I am surrounded by." I posted on my Facebook, but I think it was 100. I think it was a combined 130 years of experience, or something like that, in all in the same room. Not to count my very limited experience compared to those guys,
Right.
uh, but that was a really cool moment for me, and I had to take a second step back and go, "Wow, this is really freaking cool."
You got to enjoy it, stop and enjoy it for because you just never know when it'll end or change.
Yeah, that's it. I've been blessed. I've got contact, and uh, even would call myself friends with some of the biggest names in the business just through my time. I mean, I've got a really good relationship with Tommy Dreamer, Mick Foley, Al Snow. Obviously, I see Scott twice a week, if not more. So, that's I'm definitely blessed on where I've got everything, but I'm not satisfied yet. We gotta keep moving.
As and you will appreciate this when I say you got to leave the business better than you found it.
Amen. And I feel like if I was to stop right now, I can honestly say that I've done that.
And like I look at how many people get the chance to say that and really mean it for just their actions. It's an amazing thing.
For sure. 100%.
So before we go, I want to take the time to thank you, not just for coming on my show, but for what you're doing for wrestling, what you've done for wrestling, and what you're going to do for wrestling in the future. A lot of people work their tails off and never get to have their flowers, their moment to be appreciated. And I'm a firm believer in making sure that I give people their flowers. So I wanted to thank you again and give you your flowers and tell you I hope everything continues to grow. I hope that Diamond Championship Wrestling goes to the levels you only imagine. And again, thank you for leaving the business better than you found it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to plug a little bit real quick. If anybody's in the area interested in learning how to wrestle, we've got Diamond Mine Wrestling Academy. That's head trainer Scott Armstrong. We've got a couple other really good trainers too, along Marcel Pringle being one of them. Um, I mean, we teach TV wrestling and we teach it the WWE way because we've got a trainer that was there for a very long time, and so we train to get you to that point if that's what you want to do. And Diamond Mine Wrestling Academy, Diamond Championship Wrestling. Come check us out.
Again, thank you so very much. And and of course, if you will have an open invitation anytime you want to come back, let me know and we'll get it worked out.
Absolutely. Same goes for you when you're in the Mobile area. Hit me up and we'll get you in here. Hopefully we'll get you in here for a pay-per-view so you can really see some stuff.
All right, I definitely will let you know. Thank you. Guys, girls, has been another amazing conversation around the campfire. It, you have to believe in yourself to manifest your dreams. If you get knocked down, pick yourself up and wipe yourself off and continue going to your dreams. Don't let anyone stop you from your dreams. The only person that really can stop you is you and not believing in yourself. So definitely believe and try to put in the work to make sure you can achieve your dreams. As always, before I leave, I always like to say this: I'm not going to stop saying it. I'm going to say it after every show because this is something I truly believe in my heart. Please, please, please go support your local indie promotion. You don't understand how much it means not only to the promoter and to the wrestler, but it means so much to keep the sport alive that we all love. And you'll get a whole different feeling from going to an indie promotion. I'm not saying it's better. I'm not saying it's worse. What I am saying is you will get a real feeling that if you take your family, you will be creating memories that's going to last a lifetime. So please support your local indie promotion. And with that being said, I am Professor Bear. This is a Bear's Thought, and we will see you again around the campfire very, very soon. Y'all take care.